This is Western Fashion Behind the Scenes, hosted by the Boot Babes. In this podcast, we delve deep into the world of Western fashion, exploring its history, trends, and the people who make it happen. With Cowgirls once again taking the spotlight, we bring you stories from the industry's most fascinating characters. Saddle up and join us as we ride into the Wild West of fashion. And now, here's your host.
Hey, it's Ashley, and I am live on Western Fashion Behind the Scenes, and I am so excited because today we have a very special guest, Justie Jensen. She is a Western fashion content creator, and she's been exploding. Welcome, Justie.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. I'm so happy to be here.
I am so excited because most of the girlies know you, but they don't know where you live and what you really do. So tell us a little bit about what you got going on.
I do try to keep my location very to myself, super on the down low. I am from like the Idaho, Utah area. I grew up in Idaho in a small town, and I absolutely love the mountain states and where I grew up, where I live now. A little bit about what I do as of October 2023. I became a full-time content creator and Western lifestyle photographer, and I also do microblading on the side.
I like this. You do an eyebrow queen.
Yes.
Eyebrows significantly changed my life. So I'm naturally very blonde and I had to draw my eyebrows on my whole life. It was painfully hard. If I forgot to draw them on, I looked, and I'm going to say it really nicely, like a cancer patient. Like I had no eyebrows sometimes in pictures, and people would be like, "Are you okay? Are you struggling?" I'm like,
Are
"No."
you sick? I totally get it. I
And
totally get it.
then I met a woman who was like, "You're gonna microblade your eyebrows." I'm like, "I've never even had a tattoo in my life." It's like super no, and it significantly changed my expression. So that's amazing. You give girls confidence.
100%. I think of it that way too. That was honestly my first tattoo in a sense, was getting my eyebrows microbladed. And looking back, it's just funny because I remember in high school, if I didn't draw on my eyebrows and I went swimming or something, I would have to put on these huge sunglasses because I was so embarrassed. Or if I went out on a date where I couldn't wear like makeup necessarily, or it was going to come off, it was just so embarrassing. And so that was a huge reason behind me wanting to learn how to do eyebrows, was to help other people get the confidence that I got from them. And it sounds so simple, but it helps your confidence raise so much, and it just adds to your face.
Yeah, I think that this probably is a sign if you're listening to this and you're like, "We're thinking about this. This is the way to do it." So how can
Yeah.
people get a hold of you for that? What's your handle on social media?
Yeah, it's Southern Idaho Microblading. I do have it linked in my personal page bio, so you can find my page there and contact me. I am taking new clients, which is super fun. So let's get you in. Let's get those eyebrows looking good. I know it's so scary. I think I waited a year and I stalked the girl that did my eyebrows. I stalked her page for probably 2 years before I built up the confidence to go and have her do my eyebrows. But I promise you're not gonna regret it.
When you go to microblade someone's eyebrows, just explain the process a little
Right.
bit so someone would get more familiar because I didn't understand the process and I was
Yeah.
actually terrified because I literally had my eyebrows waxed by every person that's bad in the universe, right? Waxed off, waxed half off. It's a bad deal. So I was definitely scared. So just share with someone a little bit about what happens.
It's a great idea. So when you come in, the appointment in itself is really only an hour long for an initial appointment. It's super short. You're not getting microbladed for a long time. Only about half of that part of the appointment is actually microbladed. So the first part, when you come in, we're going to draw out an outline of the brow, and I will have you look at it and basically approve it for me before we even touch your eyebrows with any sort of pigment or anything like that. Basically, you tell me what you want. We go off of your natural brow bone, your natural face shape, and you just tell me the width you want, the length. I adjust them to your preference. Basically, you are going to be looking at your face a lot more than I will. So you're the boss in this situation. And once we get them just the way you want, we spend 15 minutes numbing you. And then we go in with the microblade. We do 3 passes on each eyebrow, and I continue to numb you. I'm a baby, and I was super worried about the pain, but I promise you it's not that bad at all. I've actually done it to myself multiple times, so it's really not painful, but Anyway, and then the aftercare is super easy too. It's only about 2 weeks of healing. You don't really have a day where you look crazy and like you can't go out in public. They heal pretty easily. Yeah, that's about all there is to it.
It's exciting that you're explaining this because if I would have known earlier, I would have done it like 10 years earlier. But I was seriously scared of the idea of black eyebrows tattooed on my white face because I'm so pale skinned. And that doesn't mean
Right.
like everyone has a different story, but there's so many
Yeah.
girls who are nervous. So thanks for
Yeah.
sharing about that. I need to get mine retouched. So maybe we'll talk after this too. If you've had them done and you want them fixed or retouched, you do that as well.
Yes, I do. So most people come in yearly for a touch up, and I take new clients for that as well. And I should have mentioned too, I have different pigments that match your complexion and your hair color and like your natural eyebrow color. So you don't have to be worried about the black, like tattoo looking pigment because I really don't have any of those colors that would resemble.
They adjusted it to this very light, reddish kind of brown for me. And that worked really well. I was very impressed by that. So that's cool.
Right.
So you're microblading part of the time. And then the other part of the time, you're a full time content creating for Western fashion. I love watching your channels. You're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook. Where else are you?
So I actually am not on TikTok anymore. I'll go into that. I used to be on TikTok and I actually just made the decision for myself that I wasn't posting the kind of content that I really felt was leading me to be the type of person I wanted to be. It was more just for fun. And I was spending a lot of extra time just scrolling on TikTok. So I just made the decision for myself to delete it. It's actually great. I know there's tons of opportunities on TikTok for content creators, which I do feel like I'm missing out on those at times, but like in all reality, I do feel like it's been best for me just to focus on Instagram. So Instagram is my main platform. I am on Facebook as well, and I have started a podcast on Spotify. It's just specifically on Spotify now. And then I'm also on YouTube.
Okay, so I'll link all of those in the description. So if you're listening or watching this and you're like, hey, how do I get all that? Just go to the description and I'll have that linked for you. Your hat is super cute. Tell me about your hat.
Okay, so I actually just got this hat as like a PR package. It is by Sammy J Customs. She can be found on Etsy. She actually sent me one that says Dog Moms Club. I think that one's my all-time favorite just because it describes me 100%. So I've been wearing that one like every day. And then this is the first time I've worn this one, but it's super fun. I love it.
It's super cute. And if you can't see it, it's like a spread of feathers with the turquoise dot in the middle. It's super, super cute. You have dogs.
I have one dog and he's enough for me, but I have a golden retriever.
And is he part of your content?
What was that? Is he part of my
Of your
content?
content?
Yes, I actually have him like featured in my feed in different ways. Like I've created a couple of reels with him and he's in the background of some of my styling videos. You'll see him just laying on the floor and I post a lot of stories with him too and just like the struggle of trying to figure out how to train a dog. He runs away all the time and so me and my fiance are constantly like chasing after him and yeah, it's just I love him. I'm definitely a dog mom. He's my baby. He's 2 years old, but he's a handful.
Oh, I think that's relatable. I grew up with hound dogs, and there's so many dog lovers on this podcast. We talk a lot about dogs and how it goes with content. And if you keep your family in your content, is your husband part of your content or Beyonce part of your content too?
Yes, he is. He's such a good sport with it too. I feel like he just always like volunteers to help me. He actually does a lot of like behind the scenes shooting. If we are like on vacation or we're both together at night and I need to create some content, he's always down to be behind the camera and helping me shoot, which is nice. But we've actually been asked by a couple of different companies to model together, like men's and women's clothes. And so hopefully that will be happening soon. I don't think he ever expected to be like on the other side of the camera modeling. He's always hated pictures, but when
If
you
you're a
miss
beautiful couple,
yes,
if you're a beautiful couple, it's natural that they would want you, right? That's fun. That's amazing. Congratulations. And I can't wait to see that. So, have you always been a model? How did you get into modeling and doing those things? What did you do before?
So I grew up rodeo queening. Actually, that was how I got my background in the Western industry. I remember we as in my family, we got horses from my grandparents when I was 3 or 4 years old. And I remember just asking my mom every single day when they were going to come, and they were trying to get the pasture all ready. And ever since then, we've always had horses. And I've always been a little horse girl. That's definitely my background. I remember I did my first rodeo queen contest when I was 8 years old. And ever since that point, I did rodeo queening, and I held a rodeo queen title every single year until I was 18. So I have tons of buckles that show all of my awards, but more than anything, I learned so much about the Western industry and rodeo, and probably most importantly for me, Western fashion and horsemanship. So that I have my own twist on that now, because if you're not familiar, rodeo queening fashion is really classic, especially when you're out in the arena. Everything matches really well from head to toe. There were multiple nights that me and my mom spent dyeing Wranglers in our bathtub to match the shirt. And so really old school and classic, and I grew to absolutely love it. But then once I got out of the rodeo queening world, I was able to have a lot more freedom with my fashion. So now I'm playing around with that and seeing where I can test my limits on contemporary and Western, different genres of clothing, and finding my style.
Yeah, I love this. This is really interesting. I didn't know you started as a rodeo queen. Makes a total sense though. I love the idea that I could have matching hat, matching boots, matching everything. Sure, right now, I'm obsessed with that, right? I wear red everything right now. It takes a lot of confidence to be in the rodeo queen world. It can be taxing on your mind sometimes because it's really competitive. So I think we're from around the same area, which means the competition is really intense for rodeo queen. I grew up with the Christensen family. So like Brack and Brandy, Brittany, Brooke and Bryn, like they had this amazing rodeo queen family, and I knew a lot about rodeo queening. But tell me a little bit about the platform you ran on and how you help women, or how you help, what did you do while you're running?
Okay, so I actually competed in two different state titles during those 10 years of rodeo queening. And I ended up being Miss Junior Rodeo Idaho, and then I went on to be Miss Teen Rodeo Idaho, which is just one division lower than the state title holder, Miss Rodeo Idaho. So I was able to use my voice the most in this situation of holding a state title, and I was able to spread the awareness of the Western lifestyle all throughout different parts of Idaho. And when I did hold these titles, I was pretty young. The first one, I think I was like 13, 14, and the second one, I was 16 to 17. My mindset has changed a lot since holding that last title, but I always did want to just show women that you should wear what you feel comfortable in, no matter how people look at you or what they think. Because walking around in rodeo queen clothing is, you're almost in like a clown costume. People just don't register that it takes a lot of confidence to wear that kind of stuff. And even just wearing like a cowboy hat in public, sometimes it's, oh, I feel like I am from the 1800s. It just doesn't click with some people, and you'll get some funny looks, but I literally grew up that way. And so I'm used to those funny looks, so it doesn't bother me. I think I really gained a lot of respect for Western fashion because once I got into high school, I strayed away from that side of myself. And I basically, I think I did that just because I was part of the cheer team, and like the person I was dating at the time was not Western at all. And so I had to fit into this mold of something else other than who I actually was. And then once I graduated, I actually met Marika. She's one of my best friends now. I met her through mutual friends, but she showed me that I could put my love for Western fashion and my love for photography together and create a career out of that, because that's what she had done. And so that was a huge help for me to put my two passions together and be able to promote that confidence online rather than just do it in person like I used to rodeo queening.
I think that's amazing. I think that people they don't give themselves the benefit of the doubt a lot of times. They get stuck or they get frustrated because they were one person and then they were someone else. And then they have to figure out, how do I integrate these parts of myself? And this is an important part of Western fashion. This Western fashion is a conglomerate of all of these different parts of the world that came here. And then we adopted this we call it Western fashion, in the specifically the like northwest and west of the United States. And it's all over the world now, but we hold that trending, right? Beyonce wearing things that there's been girls in our industry wearing for 3 years or 5 years,
Yeah.
right? It's amazing to see how it's transferring through generations because there's every 10 years it comes back. 1979 was Urban Cowboy, and now we're going into this 2020, which is like the years of Beyonce for sure. So the crazy part is that core Western demographics always going to be there. And
Yeah.
that 100% of the core Western demographic is amazing. I love them. 20% of them, this is interesting. This will be interesting for you. 20% of them drive the industry. They're the Wrangler, they're the Cinch, they're the Ariat, right? And that's 20%. The other 80% of that core Western demographic is where I see a lot of content creators playing in a fun way, been able to showcase brands that would never have exposure. You've been able to share things with people that they'd never find any other way. Tell me a little bit about a couple of the brands you've worked with that you've loved and some unique experiences.
Yeah, I love that. And I do think watching people integrate Western fashion into their own style is inspiring to see that people can just dress how they want. And it's cool. I would say I started out actually working with a really small boutique, and it was a friend of mine, actually. She had enough faith in me and my 1,000 followers to send me a couple of outfits that I was able to shoot for her. I will always be so grateful for this opportunity because I think making friends in the industry that you can trust and grow and build with, and she's grown since then, I've grown since then. So I think it's cool that we've been able to do that together. And since that point, I've been able to work with amazing brands, big and small. I worked with Rock and Roll Denim. I consistently work with Black Star Boots. I've worked with Roper, and I've also worked with a big handful of small businesses that I absolutely love. Some contemporary businesses as well. It's been fun to bring those to life onto my page. One thing that I've been liking to do, even just this spring, is style different contemporary Easter dresses, just different ways, Western and just normal. I have a very simple style, so I never add too much to it, but I think just showcasing different ways to style clothes is fun.
I love that. Tell me a little bit about Black Star Boots. I don't know them very well. I know that they're with Twisted X brand. Tell
Mhm.
me a little bit about how they fit, why you like them. Tell me about them.
Yeah, I actually just posted this on my story the other day. Someone asked me who my favorite boot company is, and I mentioned Black Star Boots. So I have had the opportunity this year to work with them on a monthly basis, and we will be continuing to work with each other until 2025. So I have built a really great relationship with them. I will let you guys in on a little insider here, but I'm actually wearing Black Star Boots as my wedding shoe. So I think that's amazing, first of all. And I absolutely just love the quality of their boots. I love that they are continuing to create traditional style cowboy boots in this new way, in like new different colors, and they're still continuing to keep that quality. So yeah, they're really great to work with. I definitely recommend them.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to hear and say. I've seen great boots. I went and tried some on at the market. I love this green pair. I was obsessed with this one green pair. I saw Cowgirl Kate wearing them too. I've been watching, and I know Lorinda Van Newkirk was behind creating them in the first place. I'm not sure if she's still involved, but yeah, I think that's so fun to see the evolution of boots. There's some new players in the industry because that brand's not very old, which is exciting because that means
Yes.
there's lots of room for people to grow and people to learn. And it's great because Twisted X is a really household name anyway. So
Yeah.
figuring out how they can have more women's boots is really exciting.
Yes, I totally agree.
Where'd you get your first pair of boots?
Okay, my first pair of boots was a pair of pink Fat Babies. I want to say they were probably either Roper or Ariat, but I think I got those when I was here for. I absolutely loved them. I wore them for as long as they fit. And now I think my collection is up to 20 plus. So I'm very grateful to have companies that work with me and send me different fun boots. I definitely am a boot fanatic. So I need like more closet space always for boots.
I think you know we can have enough boots. So when you die, you should be the queen and have as many. You should be the person with the most. I don't know. That's the thing they had at your funeral, the lady with all the bits in the paper.
Just blind
Um,
now.
I seriously believe this. Do you have a dream collaboration that you've been trying to figure out? I want to work with these. This would be my dream. Who is it?
Yeah, I think one brand I've always idolized and worn so much is Wrangler. I would absolutely love to work with them. I think that would be a really cool opportunity. And hopefully one day in the near future that will be able to come to life. I also love Boot Barn. I think they do some really creative and cool things. And I do a lot of wedding videography. And so being on the cinematic movie side of things, they create some really beautiful work. So I think being able to work with them too would be amazing.
Yeah, I like this. How often are you doing shoots for other people right now?
With wedding season picking up, I have in May, I have one wedding every week. So it's starting to get really busy. It's the same for June as well. So right now, my focus is seniors and couples photography. I'm doing some bridals this weekend, a bridal video actually. So it's fun to be able to incorporate my love for photography while taking photos of myself and creating outfits, and then also being able to show that creative side with other people in their lives.
Awesome. I love this so much. If there was something you were going to tell girls that were trying to get into this and trying to figure out how do I get brands to pay me? How am I? There's a lot of people who listen to this and one they're like, huh, I have a great following, but where should I start? What would you tell them?
Yeah. Both you and I know that education is huge, and I actually have been doing this for about 3 years now. And I just barely decided to take a course on how to be a content creator and actually how to monetize. And that's been very helpful. So I would recommend educating yourself and investing in your education in some way, but then also just doing it because you're passionate about it rather than making money. That's how I started out. I would say be consistent and do it out of passion.
This is really good advice. And I would say don't take anything personally. There's always going to be people who don't like what you're doing or might have something else to say, or you wonder about how do you deal with times when you are like, might just struggle with self confidence ever?
Oh, yes. I think that's something that most people do. It just depends on how you handle it. I'll actually tell you a pretty personal story. When I was in first grade, I actually got into an accident and I have a huge scar on my forehead because of it. I was in Wyoming at the time of this accident, and the doctor there was a family doctor, not any sort of surgeon or someone that knew how to do, like, plastic surgery, and so my scar was horrible. It was bright red. This accident, it actually had dented my skull, so I had a really bad scar on my forehead, and I had to go to school with that every single day from my first grade year to forever, but at first it was really bad, and I would wear a Band-Aid over it, and everyone would ask what happened, and I just remember crying so many times over it and looking in the mirror and just thinking like, "Why did this happen to me right on my face? That's a part of me. That's what I have to look at every day." And my mom was really great at helping me realize that it doesn't define you, and it's really not even a part of you. It just is something that helps you to tell your story. And so I had to get to the point where I was looking past just physical features. And I feel like I find different value in people just past the cover of the book. And yeah, just growing up with that, I think that taught me a lot about self-confidence and being confident in how you look from a really young age. And that's something I've tried to implement. And I have tried to stay true to that on my social media. And there are quite a few times I'll post really unfiltered pictures of myself and photos that I might really not like necessarily, or they'll be like a super bad angle. I'll just post it just to prove to myself that it doesn't matter. That's the real me. That's how some people see me. And I'll have a huge smile on my face, and that's all that matters.
It's
So,
true. This is such a curious story. Thanks for sharing that with us. I think everyone can relate to something when we're young, going through something that's really traumatic, where we experience a lot of feedback that doesn't feel good. And
yeah,
we're like, oh
especially
gosh, I don't want to be who I am.
Exactly.
But what a cool story about microblading, right? No wonder you help girls fix their face. Because this literally changed my whole world. I went from having a lot of confidence, is what I thought, a lot of confidence, to being able to wake up in the morning, wear no makeup forever, and feel
Mhm.
totally confident, comfortable.
Yeah.
It really changed that for me. So thanks for giving girls confidence, Justy.
Oh, of course.
It's amazing. Tell me your social media handles one more time so someone can get a hold of you.
So you should be able to find me on everything at Justie Jensen. If you are interested in listening to my podcast, it's called Cowgirl Handbook. It's really new. It's something that I've just started this past year, but it's been fun to be able to dive a little further into who I am past just sharing photos on social media. That's been fun. And then I'm on YouTube at Life with Jay.
Okay, Life with J, and then it's Justie Jensen, JustieJensen. And that is how you spell it. Yep.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thanks for being here today, Justie.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you.
Yes, this is Ashley on Western Fashion Behind the Scenes. And today we heard from Justie Jensen. She is a Western content creator, she's a photographer, and she's a microblader. She's going to change your eyebrow life, I promise. My name is Ashley. I'm the boot babe. I know everything there is to know about cowboy boots and Western wear. And today you've been listening to Western Fashion Behind the Scenes. Just remember, it's always a good day to wear cowboy boots. This episode of Western Fashion Behind the Scenes is brought to you by The Boot Babes, the largest Western networking group for women in the world. If you want to get in on the next women's adventure, go to thebootbabes.com right now and sign up for the newsletter so you don't miss anything. Seriously, I know you want to take a trip to the West. Let's do this.